Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So why did you decide to seek the state national direction? Why did you decide to go in that direction?
Well, I started researching when I felt like we were being trapped and lied to. I feel the government wasn't telling us the truth about everything. And I had really listened a lot to what President Trump had said about, I've given you back the republic, now go get it. So it got me thinking something more is there. He tells us this all the time. So there's got to be something else out there. So I started researching, and then I came across where there is American state nationals, and they stated that the US citizen was under control by the government. Well, the Constitution tells us that we control the government. So I just started going further and further down the trail of what actually happened to America and where did things change.
Mhm.
And that's when I came across the American State National, started doing some research, pulling things up, and realizing that I was not wrong. I was correct in that theory that something's not quite right.
Mm.
And I didn't want to be controlled anymore.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So, a lot of people there's a lot of different people teaching this out there. And, Judge Anna and David Roberts, and then there's David and Bonnie Straight. What made you seek out David and Bonnie Straight and learn from them? And do you think that that was a good decision?
For me personally and my family, we were in a foreclosure situation. I had been able to prove that the bank lied and tried to falsify some documents, but the judge wasn't hearing us. He wasn't giving us time. We had actually gone through another program where we thought we were protected, but it turns out we were not. We were only protected on the land. We weren't protected in admiralty law, which maritime law is what the courts practice. And because of that, I came across David and Bonnie's teachings. And that's what led me to, again, do research, do my due diligence,
Right.
and figure out that that's the route that I really needed to go. Now, we were in the midst of it during that, so we weren't fully protected. Therefore, we ended up having to go to court, which we still are doing, even though I'm proving to them that they don't have the jurisdiction over me. And I'm having to go through a few things that I'd rather not go through, but we are doing it and we are seeing progress. And we're taught to teach them the errors of their ways. So it's educating them, because when I was in court just this past Monday, we figured out really quick, they didn't know half of the stuff that I was talking about. And it was making them have to think. And the state attorney's office, he was actually stumbling over his words. And that was stuff that Bonnie and David had taught me what to say, what responses to say. And those responses were causing them to react. So we're sending some more documents in, and we should hopefully be getting dismissed soon.
Didn't some of your actions that you learned from David and Bonnie result in one of the judges recusing himself?
Yes, we had a recusal that did take place. So
But
we're
why don't
moving
you
forward.
state that, because they're going to cut me out here. So why don't you state that one of the things you learned from David and Bonnie has resulted in
Okay,
one
I'll
of the
say that.
judges recusing
Okay.
himself? Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that we learned from David and Bonnie with the responses that we had to do, we ended up having a judge recuse himself from our case.
Wow, that's incredible. So, all right. So, how do you see this as a movement for taking back our country? How do you see, where do you put the state national movement with everything else that's going on, like electing new Republicans, or trying to find rhinos that you can't, that you can get rid of the rhinos and have people in there you can trust? So how does becoming a state national and the state national movement stack up against, trying to fix the existing system?
By becoming a state national, one of the things that I learned was that we actually become electors. We have to register to be electors, and electors get 4 votes. So instead of having a partial vote of a vote by being a US citizen and looking at different Republican versus Democrat, when half the time those Democrats are actually rhinos within the Republican system, I would rather have a vote that counts 4 times and know who I'm voting for and get that person in office that needs to be in office, that will do what we want them to do. Because again, it goes back to, we the Americans are to control the government, not the government control us.
I don't know what you meant by the 4 times. Can you explain that?
Our vote counts 4 times. An elector has 4 votes, whereas a US citizen has a partial vote of a partial vote. It's not even a full vote. You don't even get 1 vote. You're a partial. So if you've got 300 million people voting, well, you really don't, because of the way the electoral college is set up. But electors, their vote counts 4 times. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, not a fraction of 1 vote.
Okay. You think people are going to understand it? Because I'm not
They're
sure.
absolutely not, because you really have to look it up. I think that's a dud question, in my opinion.
Okay, let's not go there then. So let's just go in terms of rebuilding our society, our country from the bottom up by getting rid of. It was good that you mentioned admiralty law. That what the bar attorneys have done. How about this? What the bar attorneys have done is they've trapped us in the admiralty law, and we don't have any real power over the legal system, whereas we're supposed to be under the common law, where we, the people, control what's happening in the legal system through the grand juries and the jural assemblies. I'm gonna put that in your own words.
So one of the things that I think with the elections and stuff like that is we're supposed to have control. We're supposed to control the government. We're supposed to be back in common law, constitutional law, not in bar attorney, bar judges who try to control. That is where we went. The admiralty law, that's actually, maritime law is military law. That has nothing to do with us, the people who just live in Florida, live in Louisiana, live in Maine, live in Kansas, live in California. We're here as men and women that of God came to dwell on the earth. We didn't come to be a part of a state, a part of Florida, being controlled by the state of Florida. We came to live on Florida, the beautiful land of sunshine. We don't want to be controlled. We want to have what we were born to do, which is we're born to love, we're born to nurture, we're born to help each other. And most people are born good. We're born good people. It's the tyranny of somebody trying to control and keep indoctrinating and changing the way the system works. They try to, I think about the way that they've done things. For example, different meanings of words. If you drive a vehicle is owned by the state of Florida or the state of California. And with that, you have to follow these rules. Most people know if you're at a 4-way stop, you stop, you let the other person on to the right go. And once you have some natural basic rules, it shouldn't get much complicated than that, but they've turned it into a rolling stop. If you don't stop, you get a ticket. If you do stop and you stop too long, or you're going too slow in the left lane, these rules that they've made up, they're made up rules, and they're just ridiculous. It goes against human nature. Human nature is to love one another, to help one another. We see somebody in an accident, we're going to stop, we're going to help them. We're not going to sit there and try to make them more injured by them laying there. I think the government has overstretched themselves, and now they've gone way too far and beyond their scope of what they were meant to be for us.
Okay, that was good. Especially that last part there. As far as let's go back to the steps of becoming a state national and what that means and what that does. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the steps of becoming a state national. Okay. We don't have to go through it, but basically you have to record some documents, you have to send some things in. But what that does then, once you're done with it and you've recorded your documents, you are no longer a US citizen, which is nothing but a government employee. Let's make that point really strong. Okay. Right now we're government employees. Okay. And okay, go ahead.
So as a US citizen, you're actually a government employee. Did you know that? Because the thing is I didn't know that, because I know why when I'm driving my car, I would think that if I'm a government employee that I should be getting a car allowance and my insurance paid for, and they should be giving me some money towards mileage. But I'm not a government employee. I'm Anne Ziegenhorn, a loving, living woman of God. And with that, I don't have to bow down to what they're telling me to do. I just have this unalienable right to be able to travel the road and to be able to go to the grocery store, visit my friends, go to work, doing a job that I love. I don't have to have all these other things. Well, one of the things that you do is you do a little bit of paperwork. You fill out these documents, we send them in, and we get actually we don't get a response from the government saying that we can't become these state nationals. And once we've done that, we record the document. Once it's recorded, I'm no longer under the thumb and rule of the government and the bar association. I actually have more power over the government than they do over me. And that is one of the things and one of the freedoms that we have. And that's what we were born to have, be able to be free. And that's what made me want to go be an American state national.
Okay, that was perfect. That was really good. So sometimes when we go through these things, it takes a little while before we get that golden nugget. Right there, that was the golden nugget. So, so let's see what else. How do you see? Want to talk a little bit about this? You know, David just recently told us when we had dinner with he and Bonnie about a week and a half ago, after they were in Palm Beach, that he had somebody inside the State Department that knows him and is feeding him information. And there were over 1.4 million people that have sent in their paperwork that is coming from David. So we know that there's at least 1.4 million state nationals just from David, what David's doing. So you maybe want to say a little bit about the momentum of this movement and how fast it's growing, and just say that little bit there, okay?
Okay. So one of the things that I have heard through the grapevine, and it's very exciting, is a few years ago, I want to say maybe 2 years back, we were told that there was approximately 44 to 46,000 American state nationals. And just this year, we found out that there's, just using David Straight's system, not even all the other groups that are out there, 1.4 million. Talk about growing in leaps and bounds. That is growing in leaps and bounds. So if there's 1.4 million using one person's method, can you imagine how many more are out there? So we're growing, and it is it's becoming a thing. I mean, people want their freedom, and we deserve our freedom. And the more of us that are talking, the more and more people get that momentum to go forward and do the paperwork that's needed for them to be an American state national and get their freedom back.
Awesome. Okay, that was great. One more thing if I could do, and then you're done for the day, okay? You got a lot of gold nuggets there. But what I would like you to do, if you want, because I don't have anybody that's done this yet, is just explain succinctly that what we are under right now is admiralty law. And what people don't realize is that is completely controlled by the Bar Association, and that all the judges are bar attorneys, and they completely control the legal system with the prosecuting attorneys, district attorneys. And under the common law, there's only really two laws. One is you don't encroach on anybody. You don't encroach on other people's property or their person, and you follow your agreements. That's it. There's only really two laws in common law. And if you don't follow those laws, and you do encroach on someone, or you don't follow your agreements, then you have to compensate the person that you've harmed. So if you do no harm, there's no crime. But if you harm someone, you have to compensate them. And it's the people in the juries, the grand juries, and the jury assemblies who decide the reimbursement process to the person who's been harmed. They decide that, the people. your friends, your neighbors, your relatives in your community. They decide what you have to do to recompense. But the one thing that's not going to happen unless you're a violent criminal is you're not going to have to go to jail, and then all of the taxpayers pay for that person to have free room and board in jail. That's not going to happen. So it's a completely different system. Is that too much?
It's a lot, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, you can cut that down. I get carried away on that. So maybe just focus on that it's simple and that it's controlled by the people and it's do no harm versus millions of statutes that the legislators are continually growing to the codes and all that stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Well, one of the things that I have to say is it's become complicated being a US citizen. There's so many codes, there's so many statutes. Who can keep up with it all? It's very confusing. When common law is love thy neighbor as thyself, do no harm. And if you make an agreement with somebody, follow through with that agreement. That is the basic core steps. I'm not saying that it's 100% perfect. What I am saying though, is most living men and women will want to honor a contract if they have a contract with another man or woman. They'll do what is asked of them. They're to love their neighbor, not to harm them. If they physically harm somebody, well, they're going to owe some compensation. That's just the way it needs to be. And that is what it's for. And then if you have to go to court over something, you have a jury of your peers, and your peers are not people of your age group from another town. A jury of your peers, it's the people who know you, know your heart. They know what your intent is. That is the jury of your peers. And that is who would be able to state if you did something wrong to another person. If you harmed them, then yes, you need to compensate them. A lot of people also have brought up traffic rulings, and they're saying, well, you just think you can break the law by driving, doing this, this, and this. No, if you have a wreck and you cause an accident, it is your job to pay for that accident. But it's not the job of a cop to just stop you, ticket you, not hear the full truth, and then arrest you if you don't show them a driver's license. That is not what we're about at all. So what I'm saying is, it's a lot of common sense. It's not just common law. It's a lot of common sense. Most people do the right thing. Most people love one another. They don't want to cause harm. Therefore, they're going to do what needs to be done. I've had people say, well, a cop's only doing his job when he asks for this, that, and the other, driver's license, registration, and insurance. Well, some people carry insurance through companies, and some people carry their own personal insurance. As long as they're taking care of a person, if they bodily harmed caused by an accident, or if they punched them and it was a misunderstanding, they're going to take care of things. This is nothing to do with breaking the law. The thing is there's too many laws out there, too many statutes that you can't even keep up. I mean, there's some ridiculous statutes out there that the Bar Association has made up, and I think it just gets out of hand at times. I'm not here to cause another person harm. I love people. I want nothing but the good for them. So I think that it's just been an overreach from the government and what they have done and all the statutes that they have out there. I mean, they have to carry books around to look statutes up because there's just so many.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so that was really good. Excellent. Okay, I think that's it. Is there anything, any aspect of the state national program that excites you that you would want to just make a comment on and share with people? Or maybe what is the most exciting thing about this program for you?
I think the thing that I'm liking so much about being a state national is the camaraderie. People just pull together. They want to help each other. And when you think that you're all alone, you're not. Because if you just reach out and say, hey, I'm having an issue with this, the next thing I know, I have 5 or 6 people reaching out to me saying, hey, I heard you were wondering about this, or I heard you had a question about this. Here's what helped me. And it's very little effort. Whereas trying to find something, in my opinion, going the government route, I sometimes just go in circles.
Yeah.
And here people are just openly reaching out to me. So I really am enjoying all the people who are coming together to assist one another and not expecting anything in return.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. That was awesome. Very good. I'm glad I asked that last question.